there are so many versions of Jane Eyre that has existed before. What are the elements that you try to bring into your version to make this unique?
I wasn't too worried about being unique. I think anytime you tackle a story, your version is going to be different than anyone else's. There's this scene they do at the Sundance Labs called the Osobuko scene, which every time they bring in a new group of filmmakers partake in these film labs, they have them direct the scene. And every year the interpretation of the scene is different, and it's just a one-page dialogue scene. So when I'm going to tackle a story that so many other directors and actors have sort of taken on before me, I'm not actually really thinking too much about how to be different. I'm just thinking about how to do me on camera.
Was there something which you're trying to avoid?
I didn't want to do anything that was inconsistent, and sometimes I felt that adaptations, that the line between the period romance and then the parts of the story that were pre-Gothic and suspenseful felt they didn't feel like they're of the same film. And especially nowadays, films are so tight that when you have tonal shifts, it feels sloppy rather than feeling like it's organic part of the storytelling.
And this is a material which has its existing fan base. How do you see your approach to this project was?
I mean, you're aware of the fact that there is a gigantic fan base, people who know the story or have ideas about the story that are much stronger than my own, probably. And there will be inevitably people who are disappointed with choices I made or scenes I didn't include or the way I interpreted other scenes. But, I can't do someone else's version of the film. I can only do mine.
This is your second film. You've won rave reviews for your first film, Sin Nombre.
Mm-hmm.
You're a Bay Area filmmaker who begins from here.
Mm-hmm.
So share with us, how did you arrive to where you are today?
Who knows? I mean, I grew up in East Bay, and I made a film about Central Americans crossing Mexico, and then I made a film in Northern England. So it's like, I don't know how you draw dots to how you get to those places. It's just kind of like, I kind of just gone where the wind's taken me, and when opportunities have sort of presented themselves, I've followed them every step of the way.
Which brings me to the next question, that is how these two material are really different. What attracts you to this project then?
I think what's actually in common with them is what attracts me to them. And you have a story, in this case, these last two films about heroines, but really stories about individuals who are looking for love and companionship and family, and where they fit in the world and what kind of people they are, discovering who they are. And that's a universal theme, but I think it's very strong in these two particular stories.
Mm-hmm. One quick question about the mood of the movie. You did bring in some Gothic and suspense into this film. What is your treatment, if you will, that you have already decided on? How do you want the vision or the feeling of the movie to be?
I think I never wanted to do horror. It's because it's not a horror film. Again, that would be such a tonal shift. It would just pull you right out of the story. It's more about like keeping it in that sort of stately, I would say, restrained execution of the film. And then within that sort of execution, how do you create moments where if you were this character wandering around the house, you'd feel that hair rise in the back of your neck. And I just try to place the camera in ways that weren't necessarily like horror film tropes, but provided just the right amount of information to make you wonder what was going to happen next. Hopefully. I don't know if it works. That was the first time I tried that.